I can spend hours on TikTok just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, but I can kind of make myself feel better about it and just say it's like research for work, which it is. I do make TikToks for work. Every week I make one video for HBR Ascend's TikTok, and it takes a lot more work than I thought it would. Still, I only make one TikTok a week. What would it be like to do that every day as my full-time job?
I mean, really, every aspect is fun. Sometimes it's exhausting.
I talked to the Washington Post TikTok guy about how he goes about making TikToks at work every day. His real name is Dave Jorgenson, and he's one of the first TikTokers that I ever even knew about. Once I started at HBR Ascend and began making TikToks for work, Dave was my icon. He is what you strive for. His videos are timely, informative, funny. They really have it all.
Could you let TikTok know there's a debate tonight? Sure. Just do a little song. I don't know if that's my wheelhouse.
Go! The debate is tonight. Get it right. I bet you didn't know it was tonight. It's on every major network, The Washington Post, Apple TV, Roku, and most streaming services. On 9 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 6 p.m. Pacific Time.
Yeah, that's my bad.
I know how hard it can be to make TikToks. I only have to make one a week, but sometimes I wake up and I'm like, the last thing I want to do in the world is put myself on video, try and come up with a funny idea, and then rewatch it and listen to myself over and over and over again. So how does Dave do it twice a day? And what is his creative process like?
I do feel like people on TikTok realize this, but people not on, like maybe on Twitter, don't always understand the amount of work that goes into making a TikTok. I edit all of them on my computer. So like even that process where I shoot on my phone, then I put it on my computer and I edit it, then I put it back on, and then I add the text and I try to make it look authentic without being too polished. And there's all these things that go into it, but also just the shooting process in general is very difficult. Really fun, but like it takes about 4 hours to make each TikTok. So I think there is a lot of work that goes in that maybe you don't realize, and that's good. That means I'm doing my job because it looks effortless.
Dave's TikToks always turn out great, so it makes sense that he puts so much time and thought into them. But I mean, he works at the Washington Post. There has to be some sort of approval process or review before they go out into the world, right?
I think the main misconception is like, oh, this guy just posts whatever he wants, and the Washington Post just let him do that, which is like the furthest thing from the truth. There is a level of freedom, and I don't want to like take away. I'm very lucky about that, but the freedom is that I get to sort of write, shoot, and edit a TikTok, and then I present it for approval. Two of my managers have to approve every single TikTok. And if they're not totally sure, then they go to the next person. If he's not sure, then they go to like the managing editor of the post, and that's always scary.
Dave and his team clearly know what they're doing. And even though they're kind of this legacy media organization, they're still doing great on TikTok. They have 929,000 followers. They're so close to 1 million. But Dave didn't start as the TikTok guy. His original interest was in comedy. Did you kind of always know that you wanted to do comedy and video? Like, did you always know you wanted to do those two things combined?
I was really into the idea of being a TV writer. And so the internship I had in college was at Colbert Report, and it was actually there where I got much more interested in politics and the sort of even the journalism side of things. So I really got into that and how they were able to use comedy to inform people.
With that in mind, where did he learn the production skills he needed to make that future a reality?
One thing I really liked about my college, DePauw, which is in Indiana, it's a small liberal arts school, is that there was a lot of independence. Like you could literally do independent projects, and you really like had a lot of tools available to you to try something. Like we had nice cameras and we had some equipment, but there wasn't really any. The downside is at the time there wasn't very many professors there to teach you things. So my senior year, I kind of came to this point where I created this late night show at school, and so I started to kind of edit with that. and start to shoot with cameras. But I like that experience because it was kind of just jumping in the water, the very cold water, and seeing what we could make.
Armed with the video production skills Dave had from college, he ended up moving to LA. Classic.
After college, I went out to LA before I went to DC. So I was in LA for like 9 months. And in that very short time where I was trying to get a writing assistant job, I was told all these things you should do. Like, go try to be a writer's assistant, go try to work your way up on a TV show in that way, or, go do this and this and that. And I was trying to do that, and I wasn't nothing was working or happening or whatever. And I'm seeing a lot of other people do that exact same thing. And I'm like, well, why is this the chosen route that I have to take? I just want to make stuff that makes me laugh, and I want to do it often. And so, I think that was really important for me, is realizing that I should just keep trying to make stuff, and eventually someone's going to notice if I'm good. My buddy from college, when I was in LA, who I'd made that late night show with in college, was like, there's a job here in DC. And I was like, I'll take it.
Dave ended up working at the Independent Journal Review, where he produced comedic video and interviews on a daily basis.
That to me was much more interesting than working at Starbucks part-time and bothering people with my spec scripts the rest of the time.
He made his way to the Washington Post, but he wasn't originally hired as the TikTok guy.
I was hired, and my position is still what I was hired officially in work documents, as a producer for creative video. So creative video was a team that started basically when I got there. The whole idea behind it was growing the post video department, but we were going to be the sort of weird kids in the back making mini docs and fun series and things like that. And so for 2 years I was doing that. And then when I found out about TikTok, I was like, I have to do this.
It took a little bit of convincing, but Dave eventually got the Washington Post to create its own TikTok account. That was just under 2 years ago. But since the pandemic started, TikTok has really become Dave's whole thing. So you said something about how you were the one that pitched the idea to get on TikTok. Can you talk a little bit about that and what that process looked like internally for you?
Because I've been doing all the satirical videos for 2 years, when I pitched it, I had a little bit of trust built in, and then I got the right people in the right room to say yes, because I already knew who really had to say yes. And then on top of that, I knew the people up top who might have a sense of humor and might be kind of willing to play along. Now
that you kind of shifted your role from, making those YouTube videos to making TikToks every day, would you say that you enjoy your job more? Do you like your job more now? Do you like it the same? How does that feel?
I think overall I just enjoy TikTok more because the main reason is kind of, I don't know if selfish is the right word, but in some ways pretty obvious, which is that when I post something, I get a lot more feedback much more immediately. Whereas when I was making videos before, I was really proud of them, and I still like to go back and be like, oh, look, that was really cool. We spent 3 weeks on that. But that was the thing, is we would spend 3 weeks on something that would get, maybe 300 views on YouTube. I feel like with TikTok, I'm getting immediate feedback and most of the time very positive feedback, but also because it's immediate, I can adjust day to day, where I can wake up the next day and go, okay, well, this worked and this didn't work. So I like that a lot about it, where it's not this big guessing game. You really kind of immediately know if something's working or not.
So pretty much Dave took this role that he was reasonably happy with and turned it into something that he absolutely loves. It got me thinking, is that something that anybody can do? Say you love your company and you love your coworkers, but maybe you don't love the day-to-day work that you do. How do you turn it into something that you truly, truly enjoy?
I feel like it's become generic because I say this advice a lot, but I stand by because it's been consistent with me, which is something I learned back when I was interning for various places, was just kind of saying yes to everything. Because I think when, maybe you're doing something you're not super excited about, but someone asks you and you say yes and you really go for it, people do notice it over time. You don't have to be over the top, perfectionist or something where you're trying to beat other people out for a job, that kind of thing. But being a yes man and trying to help no matter what your role is, people notice that and they appreciate it because you're helping them out with anything that they need help with. And then in turn, they help you out. And that kind of creates this culture where by the time, for me, I was trying to pitch TikTok, there were a lot of people around me who were excited for me. because we had formed like a working relationship and people that were my equals and above me and below me, all those things. So that always over time does pay off.
If you find yourself in a position that doesn't quite fit your goals and your passions, there may be an opportunity for you to turn it into something that does work for you. Having that trust within your company can help you get buy-in. It might be intimidating for your boss to let you change your role, but it becomes a lot less daunting if they know they can trust you.
So at this point, if they came up to me and they probably will soon and said like, do you want to change your title at the post? It would just be like Washington Post TikTok creator, because that's essentially what I'm doing every day.
Now when I watch Dave's TikToks, I see them a little bit differently. You know, I see him dressed as a cicada or dancing. What is he doing? But I think about all of the different things that go into him making a TikTok. I think about how he brings his true self to this platform and how even though he's working at this huge organization that has years and years of history, he's been able to build a role for himself that he loves. And I love that for him, even though he's dressed as a creepy cicada. Where did he get that costume? Thanks for watching. Do you have a career crush? Tell us about them in the comments and we'll see if we can talk to them for you. Subscribe to our channel to see more interviews with people actually living the dream. Bye!